Mahakal Rakhwar Hamaro. The Guru talks about Mahakal. Mahakal means that which swallows time and space. And when you close your eyes, doesn't space disappear? Tell me. Only the memory of the space which you have seen while the eyes were open is there. You're digesting your memory. The direct perceiving of time and space disappears. Just that you're not aware.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Deep and Kiral live streams. Today, we have a very special guest with us. You all would know him as Yogi Amandeep Singh Ji. So, welcome, Yogi Ji. Yogi Ji is a MSc, MA, and Master in Ancient Himalayan Yogic Sciences and its application in the modern world. He's a psychotherapist, counselor, and a leading authority in comparative religious studies. He's taught yoga to several people around the world. He's even his discourses are available in many languages like Spanish, Russian, English. So it's a great opportunity for us to have Yogi Ji with us here today. So Satnam Yogi Ji.
Satnam, many blessings.
So would you like to say something, Yogi Ji, or should we just start straight with the questions?
I think I'm here to serve, as you mentioned, with the grace of the Guru. I think now the time has come to bring this message of the Gurus, to as many people as possible. And through the grace of the Guru and the guidance of the sages of the path, Sadhu Mahatma, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਉਪਰਾਲਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਮੱਤ ਆ, ਜੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਮਾਰਗ ਆ, ਉਹ ਕੱਲਾ ਹਿੰਦੁਸਤਾਨ ਜਾਂ ਇੰਡੀਅਨਸ ਜਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੀਮਿਤ ਨਾ ਰਹੇ। ਇਹ ਜੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦਾ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਹੈ, ਜੋ ਪੁਰਾਣੀ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਚੱਲੀ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਆ, ਉਦਾਸੀਨ ਸਾਧੂ, ਨਿਰਮਲੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਾਧੂ ਜੋ ਹੋਏ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਪਰੰਪਰਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਾਸ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੋਂ ਵਰਸੋਏ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਹਿਮਤ ਨਾਲ ਉਦਾਸੀ ਮਹਾਤਮਾ, ਨਿਰਮਲੇ ਸਾਧੂ, ਤੋ ਇਹ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਜੋ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦਾ ਹੈ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਥਾਂ ਥਾਂ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਪ੍ਰਚਾਰਿਆ ਗੈਰ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ 'ਚ, ਗੈਰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀਆਂ 'ਚ, ਤੋ ਉਹ ਉਪਰਾਲਾ ਕਰ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ।
That's very nice, Yogi Ji. So, Yogi Ji, firstly, a little bit about yourself. I just wanted to ask how you got into this path, because mostly if we read about other sages and other sadhu mahatmas, not only in the Sikh Panth, but even in the Sanatan Panth or many different paths, we get to see two types of mahatmas. Firstly, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਧੁਰ ਤੋਂ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, like they are born with it, and secondly, like they are somehow going on about their life, and they get ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਧੱਕਾ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਤੋਂ, and then they somehow find a saint, a mahatma, a guru, and then they relocate their path and move towards Guru, God, this divine blessing. So Yogi Ji, I want to ask about your experience. Like, how have you walked upon this path?
Yeah, I was born in Amritsar. I was raised in Singapore. And, with time, I did my worldly studies. As you mentioned, information system and software engineering. I'm a computer engineer by background.
Okay.
But this was not my path. This was not what I wanted to be. But the sake of the family, our Indian family, mother and father, they want you to be either a doctor, either a computer engineer, either a lawyer. So all that stuff went
That's
on.
right. That's right.
So I had to choose that path. But when I knew this is not my path, and with the grace of the Guru, I met Sadhu Mahapurukh. I met Sant Sri Baba Ram Singh Ji, Nanak Sar Singra recently. He passed away during
Yes,
the
yes,
Kisan.
yes.
So, and along with that, I had the privilege to study with one of the greatest sages on the planet, Sriman Sant Baba Harbhajan Singh Ji Khalsa Yogi Ji USA Wale. And so he just guided me. He told me, this is not the path that you're supposed to walk. You're here to serve the Guru. So I left my worldly job and I decided to travel around the world. For many years now, I'm traveling around the world sharing the the simple message of Guru Nanak, which is Ek Oankar, which means unity of being, which means you and me and all that is one. So with this message and the guidance of Sadhu Mahaprabhu and the blessings of Guru Nanak, I'm traveling around the world. So that is in short about me. And if I was to just add on, recently I was appointed as the angel advisor for the European Union, and also I'm involved in a number of researches done on cancer, specifically focusing on cancer for children, where we can use meditation, breath exercises, and dhyana and simran. They have made this as part of that whole research. So that's what is going on now.
So योगी आप जी नो ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਹ ਯੋਗੀ ਭਜਨ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਹਾਪੁਰਸ਼ ਹਰਭਜਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਯੋਗੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਹੋਇਆ ਸੋ ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੱਥ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਰਹਿਮਤ ਹੈ
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਤਾਂ so yogi ji, so you're currently in the Udasin Samprada or the Nirmala Samprada?
Yes, so I'm connected with both Udasin as well as Nirmal Samprada. So Nirmal Samprada, my teacher is Swami Gyandev Singh Ji Maharaj. He's the Sri Mahant.
Yes.
And I studied Advaita Vedanta from him. So he's my Vedantic master. And I had the privilege to sit with him and study those ancient texts, of our ancient lineage of the rishis.
I got the opportunity to had the blessed darshan of Swami Gyandev Maharaj in 2019 when we went to the Arth Kumbh Mela in Allahabad. Yes, we went there with Baba Baljeet Singh Ji Gurgaon wale, जिन्होंने बाबा वड्डा जी दी कृपा हैगी. So there we met with many Nirmale sadhus, and it is I want to tell my audience that it is a very less preached field about the Nirmala saints. Our Mahapurush also wants to preach about Nirmala saints, that it is a very like many people are confused that the Kumbh Mela is only about the Hindus. That's what they think. But Mahapurush want to convey that it is not just about Hindus, but it is what they call a collection, sammelan.
It is open to all sadhus.
All the world, yes. Yeah, so many saints from many faiths.
In the Sikh tradition, we have 5 main sampradas, so we call the living traditions.
Yes.
So sampradas are living traditions, the traditions that are alive, that has been handed down from Guru Nanak, from Guru Gobind Singh. So these 5 lineage, the oldest is the Udasin Samprada, which was founded by Guru Nanak Dev Ji, bestowed upon Baba Sri Chand Ji, who was his beloved son. And then we have the Nirmal Samprada, which was started by Guru Gobind Singh Ji when he sent the 5 Singhs to Kanchi to study the ancient wisdom of the Vedas. And then we have the Seva Panthis started by Bhai Kanhaiya Ji. And then we have Taksal, Baba Deep Singh Ji, and Taksal by Mani Singh Ji. So these are the main sampradas, the living traditions of the Gurus.
So Yogi Ji, the Nihangs don't come in the traditions?
Sorry, that is the 5th one. That's the next one. Sorry, the Nihangs. Sorry, that's the Nihang Singhs. Yes, founded by the son of Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, Baba Fateh Singh Ji.
So this is a little bit of history about the Panth, about the traditions. But coming on to the spiritual aspect, I would first ask Yogi Ji to get a little bit into how, for a beginner, because many people around us are just beginning into spirituality. They don't know about the Vedas, they don't know about the scriptures, they don't know like any such heavy words that you might say, or many preachers around the world say. They only know maybe a little bit that there maybe is a soul. They don't even know what a soul is. They don't know what the Atma is. So how should a beginner in this path explore his spirituality? How should he get ready to walk upon this path, or what path should he take?
Beautiful. The first path, the first way, the first direction to self-search is how to sit. Journey starts with the body because this is what you are. In the very beginning, all you identify yourself with is the body. So it's called asana. And the Guru says, Nab pavanakar asana baso, gurumukha khojat tatla hai. So the first is asana. Learn to sit still. Even if you don't know any meditation, you have a desire to know yourself. You have the desire to touch something which has not been touched for birth after birth after birth. The first thing you must do is learn how to sit. Just sit without moving. That is the first step. Asana. Learn to sit. Prabhaka Simran Nehchal Asana. First, the asana has to be mastered. So just sit. Just try not to move. Put an intention. 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I shall not move. This is the first step, asana. Second step, nab pavan kar. Nab pavan kar. Nab is navel. Pavan is breath. Kar. This is the house of the breath. So make sure the breath, the pavan guru. In the morning we read pavan guru. Make sure pavan guru goes back to its original location. This is the navel center. Nab pavan kar asana baso gurmukha khojata. This is the way to search. First the body, then the depth of your breath. If your breath is not deep, you will never experience the depth of life. In the words of Yogi Bhajan, when the breath is shallow, life is shallow. When the breath is deep, life is deep. So the first step of a seeker is the body. Second step is the breath. Allow the breath. Slow the breath. Let it go and touch the navel center. So this is the second step. The third step, don't move your eyes. Don't move your eyes. Everything is in the eye. The memory, your whole story was conveyed by the movement of the eye. ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨਾ ਫਲਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਅੱਖ ਬੜੀ ਸ਼ੈਤਾਨੀ ਹੈ, ਫਲਾਣੀ ਦੀ ਅੱਖ ਵਿੱਚ ਬਹੁਤ ਰੂਹਾਨੀਅਤ ਆ, ਨਾਨਕ ਨਦਰੀ ਨਦਰ ਨਿਹਾਲ. The whole story. And today they are recognizing that you have eye reading. They read your eye to identify you because there's nothing else closer to you, to your story, other than your eye. And that's why in English they call these eye, and they also call eye. The eyes corresponds to eye. And that's why they call this darshan. Darshan. Darshan means philosophy. And philosophy that is seen, not that which is created. Darshan means a philosophy which was seen when your eyes became stationary. When eyes stop moving, mind stops moving. And when mind stops moving, world stops moving. That's a beautiful story. A flag was moving. And the sage asked his students, what is moving? And the first said, the flag is moving. The second said, the wind is moving. And the third said, mind is moving. So we want to control the mind. We want to direct the mind. But mind is not tangible. It is not something that you can hold and direct. You have to find the seat of the mind. And where is the seat of the mind? Where mind sits. 90% of the information, 90% of the energy, 90% of the prana is received and given through the eye. So where is mind? In the awakened state, the mind dwells in the eye. Left eye is time. Right eye is space. Time and space takes birth when eyes are open. And time and space is called Kal. Kal. Kal Pai Brahma Bapatara. काल पाए शिवजू अवतारा, काल पाए कर विष्णु प्रकाशा, सकल काल का किया. What is Kal? Kal is time and space intersecting together, and time and space takes birth through the eye. Now, if I was to ask you, close your eyes. And when you close your eyes, do you know that time and space disappears? It disappears from your vision. The mind is still digesting it. You will say, no, I still experience time. I still experience space. But my friend, that is not time and space being experienced directly. It is your memory that you are digesting. When you shut the two eye, you shut time and space. So the third step is closing the eyes. And make sure the eyes are not moving, because darshan happens when the eyes are shut. Dar shunya, the door of shunya, where something higher will convey its message to you, where you will find the message, where darshan, the philosophy, the wisdom will be bestowed upon you. It's a very simple process. Learn how to sit, learn how to breathe, and learn how to see. And the real sight comes when the eyes are closed. In the words of Rumi, the great Sufi master, he says, behind the darkness of my closed eyelids, behind the darkness of my closed eyelids, the darkness. And this is Mahakal, This is Mahakal. When you close your eyes, you see that space that you see. It is the primordial dark matter which creates. Before creation, they say there was a primordial dark matter. And where is that dark matter? If you close your eyes, what you see? That is the primordial dark space. That is Krishna. Krishna means dark, shunya. Krashunya. The black hole. That's what Krishna means. Krashunya. Where is the black hole? These eyes, when you close, and what you are seeing, that dark space, this is the source of existence. This is the black hole. This is the dark space. This is the primordial dark matter right behind the closed eyelids. This is Kal. This is Mahakal, that which swallows time and space. You are experiencing God each time you close your eyes. You know that? Rumi says, behind the darkness of my closed eyelids, I saw my beloved. Where? Behind the closed eyelids, the darkness of the closed eyelids, I saw my beloved. So beloved is seen when the eyes are closed. And that is Krashunya. That is Mahakal. That primordial dark space from which you and me are born. Even now, your every thought is coming from that dark space. All your identities are manifesting in that dark space. That emptiness that you see, the dark primordial matter that you see. And all your identities are dissolving into it all the time. But you are lost in Kal. You forgot the Mahakal. Mahakal Rakhavar Hamaro. The Guru talks about Mahakal. Mahakal means that which swallows time and space. And when you close your eyes, doesn't space disappear? Tell me. Only the memory of the space which you have seen while the eyes were open is there. You're digesting your memory. The direct perceiving of time and space disappears. Just that you're not aware. Patta patta deta hai pata tera. पत्ता पत्ता देता है पता तेरा, मैं ही था जो देख ना सका. Every path was leading to the divine. Behind the darkness of the closed eyelids, I saw my beloved. And I requested the beloved. Please reveal the secret. Please reveal the secret. And the beloved said, shh, secrets are revealed in silence. So this creates silence in you. When the body is still, asan abhang, upma anang. Then the upama, then the grace, then the glory will manifest in you. You need to stop before you can experience Govinda. Govinda. Go means moving mind in Sanskrit. Go means the moving universe. And the English word go comes from Sanskrit go, the moving world, the moving mind. Go Binda. Binda means Bindu, center point. And you're constantly in a go. Everything in you is moving. But do you know that if something is moving in the center, there must be something not moving, then only something can move. When the wheel moves, something stops inside. It's stationary. Every movement is there because something in the center is not moving. So go binda. And all this goes in you. The mind goes, the emotions goes, your feeling goes, your sensations goes, your story goes, your good thoughts go, your negative thoughts go, your positive thoughts go. All these are going. But there is something beyond this movement that shh, the secrets are revealed in silence. You assess when all this happens, when the go stops, something happens. You assess shunya. And what is shunya? The shunya is described in the Vedic scriptures as shushmana. Shushmana. Mana means mind. Mana. Mana. Shushmana means the silencing of the mind. When the body is still, when the breath is deep, when the eyes are held, you obtain darshan. Darshan, the door of shunya, where for a moment you forget your story. That is it, that's darshan. You forget your story, your identities, your personality, your sub-personality, your emotions, your sensations. I want this, I don't want this. This is how it should be. This is not how it should be. All this disappears. And then just the pure presence. You are alive without an identity. Do you know that ordinarily in the realm of Kal, you need an identity to be? Every identity that you have ever identified yourself with is in relation to something. If you are a father, it's due to your child. If you're a husband, it's due to your wife. If you're sad, it's due to something outside. If you're happy, it is due to something that happened outside. Tell me, is there anything in the realm of Kal that is by itself?
No.
There's something inside you which is by itself. And that is called Ajuni Sabhang, self-sustained, self-illuminated. It is not based on anything. Everything on this realm of Kal is based on something. It's a relative truth. But there's something in you which is not based on something else. It's Sabhang, it's self-illuminated, self-sustained. It's Ajuni. It doesn't come, it doesn't go. Your emotions come and go, your story come and go, your good story, your bad story. First you identify with this, then something else. In the beginning, as a child, you are connected to toys, and then as you grow up, all these emotions start changing, you identifying with something else, and the whole life was nothing but desires and desires and desires. But the bindu was inside, always inside you. So meditation is to experience the inner Ajuni Sabhang, that which doesn't come, doesn't go, and is self-illuminated, self-sustained. And that essence in me And that essence in you is the same. And that essence in the trees, that essence in the mountains, and that essence in the oceans is all being shared. It's called the shared being. Ik Oankar, one shared being. Our stories are different. But when our stories end, we all end up in the same location. Again, the great Sufi master Rumi, he says, we all meet where the road ends. We all meet where the road ends. So when our stories end, when our breaths end, do you know that at the end of breath, every one of us is meeting. At the end of breath, every one of us is meeting. And the Guru says in the Siddha Gosht, when he sat with the Siddhas, the perfected sages who have known, who have bloomed, but they were waiting for the touch of an awakened one. You can know, you can bloom, but you need the touch of the awakened one. You need the touch of the Guru. They were waiting. They've been meditating. And their prayers were answered when Guru Nanak went to meet the great Siddhas in Mount Sameru, the most powerful vortex on the planet, where the first stardust falls. Are you with me?
Yes.
Okay. Where the first stardust falls on the planet, the Sameru mountain, the great sages or the Siddhas were sitting meditating, and Guru Nanak went there and touched them. At that conversation called the Siddha Gosht, the beautiful flowering of wisdom between the enlightened ones and the great sage of the age, Guru Nanak, the man of the heart. When he went to the Hindus, the Hindu says he belongs to us. When he went to Muslims, the Muslims say they belong to us. And when he went to Tibet, the Tibetans say they belong to us. And when he went with the Sikhs says he belonged to us. So everybody today is fighting something. Guru Nanak was a Hindu, some say he was a Muslim, and some say he was a Sikh. But Guru Nanak was not any. You cannot define Guru Nanak. You cannot cage Guru Nanak. Guru Nanak was a universal Guru. The problem is today we have locked the teachings of this great sage into just our small community. This sage of the age, he was here for everybody, not for just one ethnic group. No. So coming back to our story, when he went to meet the Siddhas have been waiting because the Vedas predicted Guru Nanak. The Vedas predicted Guru Nanak. They read, he will come. And when they went, they had beautiful discussion. And one of the discussion was, where do we all meet? Is there a space where we all meet? And Guru Nanak says, Tre Sat Ungal Vai Audhu Shunya Sach Aharo Gurmukh Bola Tat Virola China Alkha Aparo. Guru says, where Tre Sat, 3 and 7, 10 fingers meet. At that location, you and me and all the East is meeting. So Tre Sat is 10, 4, 8, 10 here. Right here. Every one of us, our breath ends here. Shunya, Sach, Aharo. This is where you getting your life. Your life is not here. The source of your life, your breath is here. 10 fingers away from you. And of course, when you do certain activities, they change. But ordinarily, it is 10. It's a deep science I'm giving as simple as possible. And 10 fingers away from you, your life. Rasat Ungal Vai Audu Shunya Sach Aharo. Your food. This is where we all meeting. Your breath comes from here. My breath comes from here. Every individual on the planet, breath comes from here. So when we exhale, our breath ends here. When we start inhaling, we come from here. So this space is shared. Where the road ends, we meet, in the words of the Sufi masters. So we all meeting here. This is our common spice called Shunya. The divine was in my breath. ਸਾਰਗ ਤੋਂ ਵੀ ਨੇੜੇ ਵਸਦਾ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਫਿਰਦੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਰਾਨੀ ਭਾਈ ਨੰਦ ਲਾਲ ਜੀ ਸਾਰਗ ਤੋਂ ਨੇੜੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਕਹੋ ਕਬੀਰ ਹਾਥ ਪੈ ਨੇੜੇ. It's so close. The shunya, the emptiness, where your story ends, where the divine is kissing you, where the kiss of life starts 10 fingers away from you. And we all are meeting there. And this is a fact. This is not a philosophy. It's not a belief system. It is your direct truth when you wake yourself up towards yourself. Now the problem is everything that you are obtaining, even in the name of religion, is a philosophy that is given to you by somebody. You don't study yourself. आप पछाने शाओ जाने और कैसी चतुराई. There's no other cunning way that you can find the divine. You have to do the self study. सुनो रे तू कौन कहां ते आयो. Where are you coming from? You're coming from here. You know that your story, your identities, all that you are is based on the breath. And where the breath starts 10 fingers away from you, and when you sit with your breath, you return back home. That's why the Guru called this Pavan Guru, the wisdom of the breath. In the morning we read every day, but we never follow our breath. We never have sin. We never consider our breath as the Guru, as the wisdom holder. But all that you are, even when you meditate, it is through the grace of the breath. If the breath was not there, you cannot meditate. And the Guru made it so clear. Pavana Aramba Satgura Matvela Shabad Guru Sot Tona Chela. Pavan arambata pavan to hoegi. सतगुर मत वेला, जो सतगुरु दा वेला है, जो सतगुरु दा स्पेस है, जो सतगुरु दा डिमेंशन है, वो पवन चो मिलेगा. फिर जो पवन दी रिकॉग्नाइजेशन हो जाएगी, फिर शब्द गुरु सुरत तुन चेला. That's the next step. But we have ignored the breath. pavan na sadhya, pavan na sadhya, sachna aradhya. If you cannot meditate on the breath, forget about obtaining the truth. Forget about obtaining the truth. And what is the truth? You know that the truth, the base, the most direct experience of the truth is the truth of the breath. Because without the breath, there is no other truth. You may be believing in God, that truth only exists because of the breath. Don't you recognize that? This is called self-study. The journey starts from here, not from there. Sadhu so, Sufis, Sufi Mahatmas. Sadhu so, जो सानू साधे, साधु सो जो सानू साधे, ते बिन साधिया साधु कादा. ला आसन करे कतल नफस दा, ईगो दा. ला आसन करे कतल नफस दा, ते पता रखे सा सादा. पता रखे सा सादा. जो दम गाफिल सो दम काफिर, जो दम गाफिल सो दम काफिर. सानू मुर्शद इहा पढ़ाया हूं. सास सास सिमरो गोबिंद, मन अंतर की उतरा चिंद. All your depression, all your stress is because your breath is not aligned. Your breath is not aligned. ਬਹੁਤੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਿਰਦ ਵਜੀਫਿਆਂ ਦੀ, ਬਹੁਤੀ ਲੋੜ ਨਹੀਂ ਵਿਰਦ ਵਜੀਫਿਆਂ ਦੀ. ਨਹੀਂ ਲੰਮੀਆਂ ਨਮਾਜ਼ਾਂ ਦਾ ਕੰਮ ਇੱਥੇ. ਨੱਚਣਾ ਵੀ ਇਬਾਦਤ ਬਣ ਜਾਂਦੀ, ਪਰ ਨੱਚਣ ਦਾ ਜੇ ਚੱਜ ਹੋਵੇ. बुलिया गल है अल बलड़ी, बुलिया गल है अल बलड़ी, समझ पवे तां बहुत सवलड़ी, सारग तो भी नेड़े वसदा. So the first is asan, second is breath, and third is ice. When these three just anchors, synchronizes, we synchronize our phone, and this is how to synchronize yourself. That these three things don't move. Put an intention for the next 3 minutes. I'm not going to move. And mind will burst, mind will fight. And in the words of Yogi Bhajan, you do your job, you let the mind do its job. Learn from the mind, it never gives up. It never gives up. The job, the mind never gives up. Why don't you learn from it? You close your eyes, you sit, mind is creating all kind of stories now. Move, move, back is itching, knees are hurting, move, move. It's not giving up, so learn from it. You are not going to give up. Don't interfere with the mind. Your intention is you just sit still, don't move the eye, and just move the breath. And when the breath moves, life moves. And when life moves, you become alive. And something starts to sit in you. And then you bring in the Shabad. Then you Shabad the Surata. You have never experienced the Surat yet. How can you experience Shabad? The Surat will be awakened. The Surat will be experienced only when these three parts of your body are in synchronized. You will see something in you is not moving. You, for the first time, will experience I, the presence. Aham, aham, aham. You will experience that for the first time. The first time, it's called the darshan of the I, aham. You will experience yourself without your story. That is Surti. And then the Surta, the Shabad, comes together. The Surt is born, awareness, we call it. And Dhyan, we call it, is born when the breath is moving and nothing in you is moving. The first breath, this is very important. I'm giving you one of the most basic wisdom, and it's so simple. It's so simple. It's already happening. It's already happening. You just need to bring aware to it. Dhyan. Just dhyan leona bas. सारा कुछ हो रहा, नाम चल रहा है, ब्रह्म अपने आप ਨੂੰ हर पल प्रगट कर रहा है, गवाचा आप फिरें लब्बे रब ਨੂੰ, गवाचा आप फिरें लब्बे रब ਨੂੰ, वांग मुर्गियां रूड़ियां फूलदा ਏ, ਭਲਾ ਵੇਖ ਖਾਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੌਣ ਬੋਲੇ, ਭਲਾ ਦੇਖ ਖਾਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੌਣ ਬੋਲੇ, ਸ਼ਾਇਦ ਉਹੀ ਹੋਵੇ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਟੋਲਦਾ ਏ। ਉਹ ਲੱਭਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਲੱਭੂਗਾ ਜੇ ਆਸਣ ਅਭੰਗ ਹੈ, ਜੇ ਅੱਖਾਂ ਨੇਤਰ ਬੰਦ ਹਨ ਔਰ ਨਾਸ ਸਵਾਸ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਪਵਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਪਵਨ ਗੁਰੂ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਪਵਨ ਆਪਣੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਨੂੰ, ਉਸ ਗਿਆਨ ਨੂੰ, ਦ ਵਿਜ਼ਡਮ ਆਫ ਲਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ ਲਿਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। Paila breath, the first breath. In the mother's womb, you don't breathe, you know. You don't breathe. Your tongue is touching the palate. Your tongue is touching the palate. In the mother's womb, the tongue and the palate are one. Tongue is representing matter, and the palate represents spirit. We call Shiva and Shakti one in union. Tongue is Shakti and the palate is Shiva. Shiva Shakti ka khel mel prakrit pasara in the mother's womb. Mind is not moving. You know why? Because your tongue is not moving. Tongue is related to the mind. Eyes is related to the mind. I can go much deeper, but I'm making it as simple as possible and as practical as possible. So the tongue is touching the palate. And when the child takes birth and he opens the mouth for the first time and tongue drops, Shakti and Shiva becomes two. The moment the tongue is dropped from the palate, the mind starts to activate itself. And the first breath of life comes. It's called ah. What is this called? Ah. The first song you sang when you came out of the womb of the mother, Hiranyagarbha, the golden womb of life. Now that's the mother's womb. Om Hiranyagarbha samvrattagrehi bhutasya jataha patirekasith in the Vedas. You come out of that golden womb where life developed, and when you came out, the tongue dropped, and the first breath of life came in. And the first song you sang, ah, ah, again, ah. And life starts. And then with time, e, u, and all these Bhavan, Akhara, Lok, Tra, Sab Kich, Inhi, Mahi, you gave birth to the 52 sacred sounds, the Guru says. There are only 52 sounds in the world, you know. Regardless of all the languages that you speak, there are only 52 sounds. Bhavan, Akhara, Lokatra. In the three realms, there are only 52 sacred sounds from which all languages are born. It's a different science. I'm not going to go into that. Okay, I'm going to come back to here now. And the first sound of breath came, ah, and you came into the world. And you started to expand, and that and this and everything started to happen. And then the last breath came. Even in the Bhavanakri, the Bhavanakra, the first sound is ah. Okay, keep that in mind. And the first sound of the breath is ah. The Guru says, Bhavan Akhar Lokatra Sabakich Inhimahi. And then you created all the other sounds. And then the last breath, you know the sound of the last breath? And the tongue touches the palate again. And that is the sound of ha. The last sound of your breath is the last sound of the 52 Bhavanakri. So whole life is the play of the 52 sounds, regardless of whatever language you speak. It's just a modification of those sounds. Look at the depth of this ancient science in relation to the human body, in relation to your breath, in relation to your being. Everything. Everything is here. Now, the first sound is, we are talking about aham. When you meditate, you find your aham, and that's what I'm talking now. What I mean by aham? What is aham? So first sound is ah, and the last sound is ha. And then ah, ha, The sound that you most identify with the I, with the sense of your presence, is Even those who can't speak, even they create this sound. This is the most essential and the most closest sound to you. The universe cannot separate you from this sound. And that's why you want to express your presence, you say, And you want to, every time you want to express your presence, This is the most closest sound in the creation to the human body, to your being. So aha, aham means that which stayed with you from ah to ha. That's called aham. That is called the self. Compare this aham with the English word self. It has no meaning. Such was the science of this ancient language that we speak. Ah, ha, that presence which stays with me from ah to ha, my first breath to last breath, aham. And when this aham thinks I am the doer, when this aham believes that I am the doer, it becomes ahamkar. In Sanskrit, ahamkar. In Gurmukhi, ahankar. So when the doer comes in and kidnaps the aham, which is the pure I, tu karta tu hua, that aham, मैं भी तू है ते तू भी तू है, मैं भी तू है ते तू भी तू है, ते विच बुल्ला कौन निमाना. Aham, when the ego comes, it becomes kar, ahamkar. That's called ego. When your aham, your essential self, your essential I, your essential presence, when kidnapped by the doer, the mind, it becomes ahamkar. It gets lost in its own modulation. And then when you drop the car, when you know the self, it becomes aham brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I'm talking about Vedanta now. The self is one with the divine. Advait Vak, the Surya Prakash Granth, Chudamani, Kavi Santokh Singh ji.
Yes.
Advait Vak, tat tvamasi jo hai, tu hai, Brahm sune, Sikh so hai, aham brahmasmi, bahur uchare, Mahavakya, a mantra sudare. The seeker, the Sikh, having dropped the car, experiences the aham, Advait Vak, tat tvam asi, the four Mahavakyas of the Vedas. aham, Advait Vak, tat tvam asi jo hai, tu hai Brahm sune Sikh so hai, aham brahmasmi bahur uchare, Mahavakya, a mantra sudar. Then the self is known. The self is known. When the car is dropped, the pure I remains and the Shabad comes in. I hope you're with me.
Yes.
The Shabad comes in. Because you found your presence, and that Surti, that Surt, becomes one with the Shabad, and that is Aham Brahmasmi, tu karta, tu hua. And you become one with the divine. आप पहचाने ता शव जाने, जब खुद को ढूंढता हूं मैं, द सूफीज, जब खुद को ढूंढता हूं मैं तो तुझको पाता हूं मैं, जब तुझको ढूंढता हूं मैं तो खुद को पाता हूं मैं, बिन शव दे दूजा कख नाही, बिन शव दे दूजा कख नाही, तेरी वेखण वाली अख नाही, मैं ते रांझन दो ना जानो, बाबा बुल्ले शाह, रांझन नू मौजूद पछाणो, रांझन नू मौजूद पछाणो, मैं ते रांझन दो ना जानो, है दो नाही, है दो नाही, है दोवां चो एक, जा तू है नहीं जा मैं है नहीं. So you lose your individuality, and you recognize that the one who was in me was never me. Ape gopi, ape kana, ape gauchrabe bana. I'm not there. Sab Govinda hai. The one that I have created, that was ahankara, ahankar. It's gone now. You experience the oneness between you and your beloved. मैं ना था वो आप थे, मैं ना था वो आप थे, मालूम ना था. कौन हूं मुझे जानता कोई नहीं, मौजूद हूं मैं हर जगह पहचानता कोई नहीं, जिसने देखा जैसे देखा, ऐसे देखा वैसे देखा, राज़ अपनी बात का जानता कोई नहीं, मैं नहीं लेकिन हूं मैं, ये जानता कोई नहीं, मैं नहीं लेकिन हूं मैं, ये जानता कोई नहीं. So this is the journey home. You recognize that you are actually the beloved in disguise. This is returning back home. And it starts as simple as sthira, asana, sthira, netra, and becoming aware of the coming and the going of the breath. First find your presence, then bring the Shabad in. This is the journey home. And it's much more than what I have described, but I think this is good enough. We started with the I as a separate being, and then at the end of our conversation, we have merged back into the unity of being. The unity of being. Ik oankar. बिन शौदे दूजा कख नाही, सब गोबिंद है, सब गोबिंद है, गोबिंद बिन नहीं कोई, सबे कट राम बोले, रामा बोले, राम बिना को बोला. The Sufis call this Wahadat al Wajud. Wahadat al Wajud. In the Vedas, this is described as Aham Brahmasmi, Tat Tvamasi, and much more than that. So, this is the essence, this is the journey. And it's simple as that. Don't complicate yourself with anything else. Learn to sit, learn to close your eyes, don't move the eyes, and just allow the breath to come and go. And be with your breath. Where the breath stops, where the breath ends. Let me just go a bit deeper into this. Something came to my mind. So when the breath stops outside, that is the end point, that 10 fingers away from you. And then the breath goes in, and the breath also stops inside you for a second, millisecond, when the breath stops outside, and before it becomes the incoming breath. For a few seconds, the breath is not moving, I'm going to repeat this. As the breath goes out, for a millisecond or so, a moment, the breath stops, and then it becomes an incoming breath. So there's a hold there. This is shunya. This coming breath is life, outgoing breath is death. And at this moment, you are neither in the realm of life, neither in the realm of death. Shunya, Sach Aharo. This is called Rahao. This is Rahao Paila. This is called Rahao Duja. Life, Rahao, gives you a stop, gives you a hold. This is Bindu. This is go, go, go. This is bend, 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 end point, go bend. So your every expression, your every movement is bringing you back home. ना देखने की तरह हमने जिंदगी देखी, ना देखने की तरह हमने जिंदगी देखी, चिराग बुझने लगा तो रोशनी देखी. At the time of death, when the breath slows down, when the breath slows down, when nothing is moving in you, nothing moves in you, then just the breath is moving. At that moment, you recognize, oh no, this is where the divine was. This experience of this samadhi that we are talking about, this experience while you're still alive, you experience it, it's called samadhi. And if you don't experience this while alive, it's called death. While you're alive, you experience this samadhi. And when you don't experience it while alive, it happens to you at the time of death, it's called death. So that moment you realize, oh my God, that which I was searching was at the end of my every activity, specifically at the end of my breath. And that's why Guru calls it Shabad Guru, the wisdom of the breath. One who knows the breath, in the words of Yogi Bhajan. One who knows the breath knows everything. And one who don't know the breath knows nothing. Because everything there is because of the breath. And that is the breath. And that is the wisdom of the breath, the Pavan Guru. Satnam.
Yogi ji, I'm sure we are also mind blown, and our viewers who are watching are also mind blown by your answer and your explanation and your teachings. But I just have 2-3 questions coming up in my mind as you were speaking. Yogi ji, you focused upon the point that Ahang Brahmasmi. which roughly translates to I am the divine, or I am God, I am Brahma. And you also quoted some Sufi quotes. I am not familiar with the Sufi quotes, but I similar to those, they quote some which are given in Gurbani, which says something like some तू करता तू हुआ मुझ में रहा ना हूँ, that saying you I became you and now there is no me left, that I became you. Yogi ji, I want to ask the difference or the similarity between these two aspects or these two paths. Are these the same or are these different, or how do we balance it out? One path telling you tu karta, in which you say only you. One says only the beloved or the guru or the divine. One goes through repeating that path, that only you are there, only guru is there, only divine is there, tu. And the other path which says only I am there. Many sages who have come have said that only I am, like Krishna said, Main Brahmu, ya Osho, Rajneesh also said, Main Bhagwan hu. Then, okay, you do. Should I complete or are you stopping?
Yeah, got it.
So, like, so many sages also said, if you focus upon what I am actually, and you go through the the end point of this is you will find the I, which is the real Atma. So are these two similar or are these two different? How, like Gurbani also says, "Main milya sukh hoye," that main mil gaya. So what? How to balance this I and this you out? It is very confusing for a seeker.
Yes. I recited one of the Sufi sutras in my conversation, and I said, जब खुद को ढूंढता हूँ मैं तो तुझको पाता हूँ मैं जब
Yes.
तुझको ढूंढता हूँ मैं तो खुद को पाता हूँ मैं. So if you find, I went to find myself and I found God, and when I went to find God, I found myself. So whichever path you take, it's the same thing. So it's either can be you, okay, or it can be the I is Brahman, I is the self. So there's no difference. Whatever path that fits you, one is the path of bhakti and one is the path of gyan. And both bhakti and gyan will merge if they are authentic bhakti and if it's authentic gyan. Because bhakta, towards the end, only finds satisfaction when the bhakta dissolves into Bhagwan. The aim of bhakta, although it starts with duality, but at the end, the desire, the ultimate desire of the bhakta is to become one with the beloved. So it still becomes one with the divine. So whichever path you take, ultimately you're going into the same thing. So it does not matter at all. Either you can say aham brahmasmi, or you can say I'm not. You're still negating yourself. I am not that, I'm not that. So if I'm not there, who's there then? It has to be God. It has to be God. So I come back to my first statement. जब खुद को ढूंढता हूँ मैं तो तुझको पाता हूँ मैं जब तुझको ढूंढता हूँ मैं तो खुद को पाता हूँ. So both paths will lead there. Whatever, don't be confused. Just whatever fits you, you take it. It's the same path. There are no two paths to the divine. There's only one path.
So
Whatever
Yogi
path.
ji, can we only choose one, either of those, or can we go taking both along? That sometimes,
Take both along. It's beautiful. Take both along. One time, once a while, it's only Bhagavan, it's only the divine, it's only the Guru, and once a while, I'm not there. It is the Guru. It's the Guru himself speaking in me. अब मुझको ही देख ले, अब मुझको ही देख ले, ले तेरे चाहने वाले, अपने यार का आईना हूँ मैं. So that's another approach. So it's the same thing. You can both can happen at the same time. There's no difference. It's the same path.
so the seeker wouldn't get confused that am I
No,
finding myself or am I finding you?
wherever you go, you will find it. If he's a seeker, he will never be confused. The problem is today they are not seekers. We intellectualize everything. We try to digest everything, and this is a path that you don't need to digest it. Don't digest it. You cannot digest it. The moment you start digesting this, which is right, which is wrong, no, then you will be confused. So don't digest it. If you are a seeker, there will never be a confusion. If there's a confusion, know that you are not yet become a seeker. It's the same thing.
Very
I hope that.
Another, do you want to ask or should I continue? So another question that I wanted to ask regarding this same field, it is approximately the same field only. You describe two paths, which is there is one, but it is taken as two. One is Gyan Marg and one is Bhakti path. In one goes through devotion and the other one goes through wisdom. Yogi ji, I want to ask that many Sufi masters also, and as very clearly as stated by Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, he said that Jin prem kiyo tin hi prabh payo, that without love, you cannot find the divine, you cannot find God. So when a person who is going through the Gyan Marg, who is going through the path of wisdom and knowledge, and I've heard Osho Rajneesh also a lot. So he says the Buddhists, they use this wisdom path a lot, and they turn their intellect into a sword, cutting through all the tarks and vitarks and trying to find the divine. And he says that at the end, they also have to give up their intellect to find the God. They have to give up their head at the end. But in Bhakti Marg, you have to give up your head at the start only. I want to ask that how, if one is going through...
The path of Guru brings both together. There's a sutra by Guru Har Gobind Ji recorded in Surj Prakash Granth when this question was asked. And Guru Gobind Singh answered, Guru Har Gobind answered, Antar Gyan Bahir Bhakti. Antar Gyan Bahir Bhakti. And then the path is balanced. So that's why Gurmat the Gadi Raha Chalaya. It is the highway to the divine. The path of Guru Nanak. Very simple. It's very simple. Antar Bhakti. Antar Gyan Bahir Bhakti. Internally, you know that you and the divine are one. And externally, you are in a devotional services. You're serving the Guru, you're serving the Sangat. But deep down, you don't exist. Deep down inside you, it is ape bole, ape dekhe, it is the divine himself. So that is the path of the Gurmat. It's a balance. Antargyan, Bahir Bhakti. It goes together. And if you just follow one path, later on, it will still merge, as you just mentioned. They still give up and they merge into devotion. And those who walk the path of devotion, ultimately, they also have to adopt the path of the Jnana. But in the Guru's path, Gadira, the highway it is called, both goes together. You are practicing it both at the same time. Antargyan. I know that me and my beloved are one. But outside, you're serving everybody. You're quiet. You're just serving. So that is bhakti.
So when going through the Gyan paths, one also can find love, because without love, Guru says that you cannot meet God.
That's what I say. Antar Gyan, Bahir Bhakti. It's going together. Gyan and love is going together. You are in love, you're serving the Sangat.
Yes.
You're doing Bhakti, you're saying in the Sangat. You're serving. This is devotion. This is Bhakti. This is love. Frida Khalk Kalk Mein Khalk Basi Rab Mahe. So I'm serving the divine. I'm not serving anybody. I'm serving my Guru in the Sangat. That's why they which is Sangat Har Prabha Basse Jiyo. In the Sangat, the divine is, so I'm serving the Guru. Bhakti is there, but internally, I'm not. So on Gyan and Bhakti goes together on this path. Okay?
Yes. Yogi ji, one question that I was going to ask, but I think you already touched upon that. If you can touch it up a little more. When you said, I wanted to ask that many people think that if they read the sutras or they read Gurbani or other scriptures, they think that they can find God or they can find them themselves, find the aham or find the divine themselves. I wanted you to touch upon the part where the Sant Kirpa or the need of a saint and the need of an enlightened being comes in, the need of a master comes in, because many people today think that Why do they need someone else for them to find themselves? Many people have this in their mind. So when you mentioned that Guru Nanak came to touch the Siddhas, that touch was important for them because the Siddhas had been practicing meditation for a long, long while, but they did not have the Paramavastha. It was given to them by Guru Nanak, by the touch of Guru Nanak only. So that was a key point, but I want you to explain it a little more. Why the
Yes, so the Guru says, the Guru made it very clear. Anhad Bani Punji, Santan Hath Rakhi Kunji. So the Punji, the treasure is there. There's no doubt the treasure is there. And but the chabi, the kunji, the chabi is in the hands of the sages, those who walk the path. In the words of Rumi, the Sufi master, he says, be in the circle of those who are intoxicated with the divine wine. Nashai Hakiki. Be in the circle of those who are intoxicated with the divine wine. At the end of the day, even if you did not get the divine wine, you would surely have smelled the divine wine in their presence. So finding Gurmukh, finding a sadhu, it's an essential part of the inner growth. Because someone who has inflamed himself, again coming back to Rumi, he says, when I met my master, my beloved, I was raw, and I was put into fire, and the fire burnt me, and whoever sees me now gets burned also. And the same thing Bhai Nandalal says. He says, my divine master, my divine guru has heated me up, has fired me up, has inflamed me with the divine love to such an extent, whoever sees me falls in love with the divine. So make sure it is a perfect sadhu. A sadhu is walking the path. Gurmukh, we call it Gurmukh sadhu, Gurmukh sant, jeda mukh guru wal howe. Odi sangat karni hai. Oda guide karda hai. He does not take the place of the guru. He himself has been inflamed with the guru, inflamed with the devotion. Now all he's doing is he's opening his heart to somebody so that he or she can be inflamed with the divine light. So ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਰਾਹ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜੋ ਸਾਡਾ ਜੋ ਮੰਜ਼ਿਲ ਮਕਸੂਦ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਹਨ ਤੋ ਸਾਧੂ ਦੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਨਾਲ ਉਪਦੇਸ਼ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਡਾ ਜੋ ਮਨ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਵੱਲ ਮੋੜਦੇ ਹਨ that is the job of the sadhu, that is the job. ਬਾਬਾ ਈਸ਼ਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਸਾਧੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਲੜ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਸੰਗਤ ਸਾਧੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਲੜ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਸੋ ਸਾਧੂ ਦੀ ਸੰਗਤ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦਾ ਸੰਦੇਸ਼ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦਾ ਪਿਆਰ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੀ ਮੁਹੱਬਤ ਦੀ ਪਛਾਣ ਕਰਾਉਂਦੇ ਨੇ so that's why we meet Gurmukh Pyare and that is their job. So we need the touch of the sadhus, we need the touch of the Gurmukhs, we need to sit in their sangat and then something will be inflamed in us because they have been inflamed. And whenever the fire is there and if you bring a dry log near it, automatically it catches fire. So that is the job of the sadhus. When you dry yourself of your emotions, you dry yourself of your desires, and you are totally dry, and the moment you sit with someone who is inflamed, surely you will be inflamed. So that's what they do.
And Yogi ji, where does the role of Shabad come in when you are, as you described that when you are taking breath inwards and outwards, inhaling and exhaling, there comes a shunya point. Many sadhaks try to do this kriya, that inhaling and exhaling and trying to find the shunya point. But how will the role of Shabad come in here?
So first you hear the external Shabad, it can be Vaheguru, it can be Satnam, it can be Ram Nam, It can be Hare Krishna, it can be Allahu, whatever. So the bar, the Shabad. And then once you have awakened your presence, you bring in the Shabad, an external Shabad, and then you unite it together. And slowly, your presence will swallow this external Shabad. It will be so powerful, it will swallow the external Shabad. And when the presence swallows the external Shabad, then the birth of the Anhadnad, that Shabad which was always there, will be heard or will be experienced. So that is the role of the Shabad. The external Shabad is needed. Just like in the ancient days, ਜਦੋਂ ਨਲਕਾ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਲਾਈਦਾ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕੁਝ ਬਾਲਟੀਆਂ ਪਾਈਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ। ਪਾਣੀ ਤੇ ਧਰਤੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਵੀ 2-3 ਬਾਲਟੀਆਂ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਪਾਉਣੀਆਂ ਪੈਂਦੀਆਂ, ਫਿਰ ਪਾਣੀ ਬਾਹਰ ਆਏਗਾ। ਤੋ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਦੇ ਭੀਤਰ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਬਟ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਬਾਹਰੋਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅੰਦਰ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਔਰ when it goes in, your presence, your aham swallows it. Ahamkar becomes nirankar. Ahamkar becomes nirankar, swallows the external Shabad, and then just the presence remains. The internal Shabad is. Shabad also means Sha and Bad. Sha means ego, and Bad means dissolve. So Shabad is a state of being where you have totally dissolved your ego, where you don't find yourself anymore, where there's no difference of inner and outer. Antar sunnang, bahir sunnang, prabhavan sunnam sunnang, chauthe sunnang, jo narjani taku papna punnang. So it's the experience of the inner emptiness and outer emptiness. In the words of the Buddha, yad rupam sa shunyata, ya shunyata tad rupam, evam eva vedana samajna samskara vijnanam, iha sariputraha sarvadharmaha shunyata lakshanaha. He says, in the form is emptiness, and in the emptiness is the form. So through form, external Shabad, you find the Shunya. So the external form, Vaheguru, Ram, whatever comes, and your inner Shunya swallows it, and Antar Sunnam, Bahir Sunnam, Prabhavan Sunnam Sunnam. Then Shabad manifests itself in you. It is really there. So external Shabad is just used to dissolve your Ahamkara, so that Nirankara can be experienced. So that is the role of the external Shabad.
So do we have to take both the Shabad and the breath along?
In the beginning, you first have to find your presence. Find your presence first. Your aham first. Experience yourself without any story. Without any identity. Find that aham first. Just let the breath come, let the breath go. And then you can bring the Shabad in. Some people bring the Shabad in even while they are starting the path. It's totally fine. It doesn't make a difference. So some people start the path with inhale, exhale, reciting a mantra. It's beautiful also. There's nothing right or wrong on this path, right? And whatever fits you. But the way that I share, or the grace of the Guru, that the way I've been given this wisdom, we first find our presence, just pure presence, and then we bring the Shabad. The Surt has to be awakened before the Shabad can be introduced to it. So then the Surta and the external Shabad becomes one, and the Surta eats up, swallows the external Shabad, and then it merges back, and then the internal Shabad is heard. It's not a sound. It cannot be described. Many times people confuse this, oh, there's a sound that's going on. Now, this is not the Anhadnad. This is not the Shabad. As long as there's someone hearing and something is being heard, know that they are two. Some people say, oh, I hear this Shabad that's going on. Some sounds, some frequencies. So as long as there's a hearer, okay, and something is being heard, and there's a process of hearing, you're still in the realm of Maya. So, na to tu raha, na to main raha, jo rahi bekhabri rahi, totally dissolving. It is the state of, in the Sufi tradition, this is called alame hahut. Sab hairat hai, bin hairat hor maqam nahi. It's just a wonder. It's a wonder. And you're not wondering about something. It's just a wonder. And that's why it's called Vah. Hey, Guru. Vah means wonder. Hey means in the here and now. and Guru means wisdom, the wisdom of wonder in the here and now. That's it. And something opens up in you and life changes. Just like after puberty, the world changes. That after puberty, the world changes. Your desires change, your sight change, your smell changes, the chemistry of the body changes, everything in you changes after puberty. It's a different world altogether. So puberty is second chakra. So when second chakra is activated, puberty happens, and when puberty happens, the world changes. And when the 10th gate is activated, just like at puberty, the world changed. It is the same world outside, but your interpretation of the world has changed. It's a different world altogether you are in. So same like that. When the 10th gate is activated, it's the world outside is same, but your interpretation of the world changes. Problems still remain. Issues still happen. It's not that after that nothing touches you. It's not that nothing touches. Every same world continues, but your interpretation of that situations change. You become more ordinary. Actually, you become ordinary. You become so ordinary that everything is you begin to accept it as the norm of life. There's no more modification. I don't want this. I don't. That all just sits back, and you just begin to flow with what is happening. That's it. It's not that you see lights or you hear this or you see that. Maybe some people work on that, but the path of Sahaja Marga, the Sahaj path, the path of Sahaj Marga, it's just intuitive ease. You are at ease with everything, and that is the greatest miracle. Can you believe that? Everything that happens, you are at ease with it. This is the ultimate, Yeah. So it's not about seeing colors or seeing visions. It's beautiful if that happens. But the aim of these teachings is to bring easiness into your life and teach you how to walk this human path, the path of being a human in its most fulfillment. That's why it's Grahastha Marga. Grahastha Marga. You're in the world, you're experiencing everything, but you're at ease. You are able to flow through it. Ordinarily, before awakening, or before these experiences, these ordinary experiences, I won't even call it extraordinary, it's very ordinary experiences. Everything that comes, there is always a desire to change it, to modulate it, to modify it, even here and there. Even an ordinary experience, there's this desire, it should be like this, should not be like this. But then when something sits in you, and then you realize everything's just flowing through you. You're not flowing through time and space. Time and space is flowing through you. And you have always been here. You have always been here. Your body is always here. Wherever you go, you are here. And your breath was always here. When you woke up in the morning, it was here. When you ate your lunch, it was here. You were always here. You were always in the here, always in the now. Only the mind experiences the past and the future. But your direct experience of life is you are always here. The Guru says, "Uha tat jaiye je iha na hoye." So you're always here. Ki hazir, hazur hai, ki zahir, zahur hai. Because you are not here, you're missing the divine. The divine is always here, always in the now. But your mind is always in the past or always in the future. So this easiness, sahaja, brings you in the now. And you experience the divinity, the divine working through you. मैं न था वो आप थे मालूम न था. So this is in short. Okay.
Thank you so much, Yogi ji.
Blessings.
नहीं, आप बता दो. नहीं करो आप करो. मेरा हो गया.
Satnam Yogi ji.
Satnam ji.
One query that I have is that the initial talk was about when we close our eyes, the space and time vanish. But what my query is like Brother Miguel is working, he has his own restaurant, and a lot of people from the Sanghas also have their daily job work as well. So how can one separate himself from time and space while working at his day job, or maybe doing some activity? Because at day job we cannot actually have that
before this shift you are moving through time and space. The world is moving through time and space. We are moving through time and space. After the shift, time and space is moving through you. The time and space don't dissolve. You can't dissolve them. You can't stop them. Because, we're trying to give you a flow. It's not that we want to change this time or we want to make the time and space close. That was just an experience to let you know that you have the capability to go beyond time and space. So first, you are within time and space. You're moving with time and space. But after that sitting, you realize that there's nothing in you actually is moving. Your body is moving, your mind is moving, your emotions are moving, the world is moving, but there's something in you which stays as it is. And finding that, you have found your home, Nijikar. And now you have, just like now, your direct experience is that you're moving through time. When the sitting happens, when asana abhang, at that moment you experience that the time and space is moving through you. They don't disappear. It can't disappear. It will not disappear. But now the whole shift has happened. First, you are moving through time and space, and now time and space is moving through you. Something sits in you. And while walking, something is sitting. While talking, something is sitting. While eating, something is sitting. While running your job, something is sitting. That's a beautiful story. You will understand this now. So Buddha, in his life, there's a story of Unglimal. And you may have heard that story. And Unglimal was about to, kill the Buddha. And the Buddha was walking in the forest. Unglimal saw the Buddha. And Unglimal says, "Stop." Buddha kept walking. Unglimal shouted louder, "Stop." Buddha kept walking. And Unglimal even shouted louder, "Stop." And Buddha kept walking. Unglimal ran and stood in front of the Buddha and he said, Did not you hear? I told you to stop. Why didn't you stop? Listen to this dialogue now. Unglimal said, "I told you to stop. Why did you not stop?" And Buddha said, "I have stopped a long time ago. I have stopped a long time ago. Since I sat under the Bodhi tree, since then I'm sitting. Something in you, your presence is awakened, that sits. Now you are constantly in movement. Even while you're sitting, you're moving. Even while you're sleeping, you're moving. Mind. There's a constant movement in you. Why? Because you identify with time and space. 3 dimensions of space and 1 dimension of time. You think you are that. But then you, for the first time, this is called Vidya. This is called Vidya. Your reality changes. Now you're moving with time, and then something sits in you. You realize that time and space is moving through you. You have not moved an inch. You cannot move because wherever you go, you are there. And this is a shift in your understanding. It's Gyan. This is it. There's a shift in your understanding of the reality. Maya dissolves. This is Maya dissolving. That you're moving with time, you're moving with space. The body keeps moving, the mind keeps moving, you keep eating, you keep sleeping, you keep running your job. But now, instead of you running with it, you are anchored, you are feeling a sense of sitting, and the world is moving through you. The world is moving through you. You have not moved an inch. And this is called Vidya. Maya is removed and Vidya happens. The wisdom, the knowledge. Nothing changes. It's your interpretation of the reality changes. That is awakening. I hope that is clear. So that sitting happens, you're sitting then. You have not moved. And you know what? Baba Nand Singh Ji, a great Sikh master. Listen to this. He says, somebody asked him, Babaji, where will you go after death? Where will you go after death? Because we think we are moving and after death we are going somewhere. Everything is in movement and everything is moving. So after the life is over, we will move on to some. I hope this is, this is something I'm talking deeper. It may confuse you more, but for now, just ignore my statement. And I'm going to come back to the story of Baba Nand Singh Ji. So Baba Nand Singh Ji, somebody asked him, Babaji, where will you go after death? And he said, where I was while I was alive. Because you have never been here, you go somewhere. Because you're moving with time and space is moving, you are moving, it's called reincarnation. Your identification with the time and space, when time and space moves, you move. And when this body is no more, because you have identified yourself with Maya, with time and space, with Kal, you're constantly reincarnating. So your identification with the time and space is called the identification with the Kal. And because Kal moves, you move. And when this body and mind are old, you, the self, the I, the presence, along with Kal moves on, and it's called reincarnation. And the one who have disidentified with Kal and realize what is Akal, while they are still in the realm of Kal, and now Kal is not moving them because they are Akal. The body still goes, the mind still goes, but the presence, the I, because you have never been here, you are moving with the time, you will move with time. And the awakened ones, they have come into the here and now. Gurmukh Sukhfal Sehaj Kar Vartaman Andar Vartanda. He have experienced the now and the here ke hazir hazur hai, ke zahir zahur hai, that which is now, that which is here. He have experienced that. And then when the body and mind goes, he still remains there. So I will be there where I was while I was alive. You are never here while you are alive. Always somewhere else. And why always somewhere else? Because time is always somewhere else. It's movement. Your mind is constantly moving with it. So I hope you understood this deep science that I tried to convey. Because you are not here, you are not Akal, you are not experiencing the Ajuni and the Sabhang, which is the here and now, that ultimate reality which never comes, which never goes, but you are constantly coming and going. You are experiencing the Kal and not the Akal. Kal is a modulation in Akal. The body mind Kal is a modulation in Akal. That which is here, that is in the now, that is called God. So when you identify yourself with this here and now, ke hazir hazur hai, ke zahir zahur hai, the body and the mind goes, you never go. The body still moves, the mind still moves, but the sense of I, the aham, has now set. You have found home. Nijkar is called Nijkar. You found your original home. You're not moving. So even when after death, where will you go? Where I was while I was alive, because I didn't move. Where will I go? I hope you understood this. Okay. Satnam. Okay. So it's just a shift of interpretation of time and space. Okay. Anything else before we end?
No, I don't have any questions.
Okay, before we end, anything? आपको पूछना है? Okay, my mom is also here, Yogi ji.
Sure,
So
sure.
basically, she's just asking that for some people, maybe who have some medical condition or who are old, they say that when they sit cross leg, their knees pain. So their knees hurt. So what to do about that?
Lie down. Lie down is called the Swasana, the asana of Shiva. Lie down and meditate. Meditation is not limited to sitting cross-legged, although it has its beauty. But meditation is not confined to any technique. Meditation cannot be confined to any tool. So whatever your body and mind, can fit into, you fit into that. So lying down on the back, hands by the sides, becoming aware, not allowing the body to move for a few moments, and don't move the eye, and allow the breath to come and go and find your presence, and then add Shabad to it. And with time, with the grace of the Guru, something in you will sit. Asana Bhango, something was Prabke Simran Natural Asana. So the asana does not necessarily mean cross-legged. Asana means that posture in which you are asan. जो तुम्हारे लिए आसान है वो ही आसन है. Okay, so that is
So,
asana.
okay, Yogi ji, before ending this, one last thing. You can skip this question if you want, but I was just because I personally love to know about something about the lives of saints. Something because all the saints and mystics, everyone knows that they talk about the divine. They are in the divine. They are God themselves only, but and they preach and they teach about how to live life and how to go about the path of spirituality. But something about this world also I love to know about saints uh, like um, Baba Ramdas of US. I have read about a lot about him. I know that he loved to go into the ocean and swim, and he even took his devotees, his followers, or his students along with him, and even Sade Mahapurush Age, Babaljit Singh, Baba Baljit Singh Ji Gurgaon wale, he loves to play cricket, and he loves to watch cricket. So something about a little bit about yourself, Yogi ji, if you wish to. What do you like to do, or something that is not uh, of course everything is about the divine, but usse hatke kuch.
Yeah, I enjoy walking, jogging. I regularly go for jogging, cycling. These are some of the things that I do whenever I have time. Walking and jogging. So yeah, I don't know how to swim. If not, I would love to swim. Something that I'm looking forward to learn is horse riding. I think that's something that I want to develop. But other than that, in the here and now, it's mostly jogging and cycling. So these are the two things which I do.
Yes.
Yeah, cycling for hours and hours.
I ask this because many people have this preconceived notion about in their mind that if they go and talk to a saint, then all they will talk about is God, and all their life is God and God. And of course it is, but like they are still living life, and they are still living it everything to the fullest.
Yes.
So I love to see that.
Enjoy your life and meditate. I think that is important.
Yes.
Yeah. It's important to have hobbies, important to do things that your mind desires you to do. It's totally fine as long as you're not attached to them. Enjoy them in the moment, enjoy them in the here and now. Okay. Anything else?
So are you saying something?
No, I say anything else.
Anything else? Not exactly. Yes, so questions are never ending, and but the time is limited. So anything you want to say something by yourself, Yogi ji, to us, to the audience who will be watching you?
Yeah, I think something that came to my mind is a story of Baba Nan Singh Ji. It's a very nice, beautiful story. Before we end our session today, the love for the Sri Guru Granth and the love for the Shabad Brahm, the Shabad Avatar, the Sri Guru Granth Sahib. Sri means creativity. It's a universal guru, The Sri Guru Granth don't belongs to the Sikhs. That's one of the greatest mystic. It belongs to humanity because you have Sufis, you have Hindu sages, all sitting inside. Siri means creativity, the force which runs the world. This my eyes is blinking, my heart is beating, your heart is also beating. This whole essence, the source, the power is called Siri. And Guru and Ru, darkness to light. And Grantha means Gra An Nath. Graha An Nath. Graha means a knot, Gand. Grah means a gand, a knot. An means ultimate. And Nath means divine. So Granth is that which ties an unbreakable knot with the Nath. Gra an Nath. That Granth means that which ties the ultimate knot with Nath, with God. So that's Granth. And Sah means totality, and Hib means light, and Sahib means the light of totality, and G means the self. Jiya andar G. So Sri Guru Granth Sahib means all these is within the essence of mind. So me and the Sri Guru Granth are one. Shabd Guru is within me. So that is the beauty of the Shabd Guru. It is your story. It is you in your highest being. Sikh Guru, Guru Sikh hai. So that unity, that oneness. So Sri Guru Granth, along with the external Sroop, it is also being in my essence. And there's a story from Baba Nand Singh's life. Uh, one day, Baba Nand Singh, he was standing in front of the Sri Guru Granth, and he's saying, Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, सारा कुछ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੀ ਹੈ, ਖੰਡ ਬ੍ਰਹਿਮੰਡ ਧਰਤੀ ਸੂਰਜ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਭੀਤਰ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਬ੍ਰਹਮ ਹੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ totality ਹੋ. All that is the Sri Guru Granth. And somebody standing in the Sangat, thought that this doesn't make sense. The Shabad Guru, the Sri Guru Granth is just a small copy. It's a small text. How can the whole world be inside? How can the totality, the Khand Brahman be inside? So after that whole, program, I went to Babaji. I said, Babaji, I respect your devotion, but that doesn't make sense. The Sri Guru Granth, it's a text, it's a small text. How can the Khand and Brahman and the world and all that be in it? Even the sun cannot fit into this. Suraj bhi vich nahi aayega. Even the sun cannot fit into this. And Babaji said, can you come tomorrow around 12 o'clock and I'll give you the answer. So next day he comes around 12 o'clock. And he says, Babaji says, can you repeat your question? He says, so he repeated his question and he said, even the sun cannot fit into the Sri Guru Granth. And because it's so big. So Babaji came out of his chopri, and as he came out, and he looked at the sun and he said, the sun is big. He said, yes, Babaji, the sun is very big. He said, really, the sun is very big? He said, yes, the sun is very big. And Babaji did like that. And when you do like that, the sun totally fits into your hand. He says, सूरज तो बहुत छोटा है, मेरे हाथ च आ गया है. Babaji said, सूरज तो इतना छोटा है, तू कहना बहुत बड़ा है. सूरज तो इतना छोटा है कि मेरे हाथ च आ गया है. ਤੇ ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ, ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਸੂਰਜ ਛੋਟਾ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੂਰਜ ਤੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੂਰ ਜੇ. ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਸੇ ਕੈਨ ਯੂ ਰਿਪੀਟ ਦੈਟ? ਇਸੇ ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਸੂਰਜ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਛੋਟਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੂਰਜ ਤੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੂਰ ਜੇ. ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਸੇ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਫੇਰ ਕਹਿ ਦਿਓ. ਕਹਿੰਦਾ, ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਸੂਰਜ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਛੋਟਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸੂਰਜ ਤੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੂਰ ਜੇ. ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਸੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਛੋਟਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਤੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਗ੍ਰੰਥ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੋਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੂਰ ਹੈ.
Right.
So let's bring this closeness to the Shabad Avatar, the great sacred sound current that was revealed by the great sages of the sacred land of the Himalayas. ये जो शब्द है ये सारे लिए है, जो श्री गुरु ग्रंथ साहब है ये सारे लिए उपदेश चौवर्णा को साझा. So may all learn to bow to the Sri Guru Granth. May all learn to vibrate the sacred Naad, the Naad which is Brahm itself. So that was a small story for you to contemplate and to meditate on before we leave. Thank you.
Thank you so
So-
much. Okay.
Blessings to all of you. It was my privilege today to be with you and share this sacred space. May Guru Ram Das bless all of you with health, wealth, and prosperity, and the highest gift, and that is the gift of Shabad, the gift of Naam, the gift of the sacred vibrations. Satnam.
Thank you so much, Yogi Ji, for being here with us today. And Yogi Ji has an Instagram page. He keeps holding regular sessions. His regular going on session is about the Sukhmani Sahib, which is the sacred Naad, and which is held on Saturdays, every Saturdays. And so all the links and all the updates are posted on his Instagram page. The the Instagram page link will be posted in the description. You all should go and follow him and try to get into this pure vibration, pure catch hold of these pure vibrations. So thank you everyone. Thank you, Yogi ji.
So to our YouTube channel, we have a lot of beautiful lectures and meditations and kriyas, yogic kriyas. We have two channels. One is a Punjabi channel and one is a English, Spanish, and Russian channel. And the English, Russian, and the Spanish channel is known as Making of a Yogi, and the Punjabi channel is Yogi Amandeep Singh Canada. So these are the two channels that you can subscribe for.
And
Bless.
Share the link.
Yogi ji, Hanji,
We'll share the link.
we will share the link. And Yogi ji is based right now in Canada,
Yes, I'm based in Canada.
in Vancouver. So that, and we're in Delhi, so that's why we had to hold this session over Zoom. But I'm sure if in the future, if Yogi ji ever visits India, we will love to meet
Yeah.
him.
That would be great. Yeah, sure.
So
Thank you.
thank you everyone for being here.